And you know who's waiting behind him, right? Vote Joe Biden today, and Kamala Harris tomorrow.
The campaign for the election-denying narcissist Donald Trump have released 3 campaign ads ahead of tonight's debate, with 2 of them poised to play during the debate as they directly reference the debate, which I find to be an interesting choice, as at least 2 of these ads aren't really going to be usable after tonight. But I do want to watch them and assess whether or not I think they'll be effective. Now, this is the first ad, which I got to say is this is the most obvious attack on Joe Biden. So as you see, it begins by referencing him. Let's check it out.
When you think about the Joe Biden you saw in the debate, ask yourself a question. Do you think the guy who was defeated by the stairs, got taken down by his bike, lost a fight with his jacket, and regularly gets lost, makes it 4 more years in the White House? And you know who's waiting behind him, right? Vote Joe Biden today, and Kamala Harris tomorrow.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
All right, so as you can see, this one is a little lighthearted and just pokes fun at the fact that Joe Biden is old. You know who else is old? Donald Trump. So I've always found this attack to be a little ridiculous, as there are so many moments where Trump, is saying, there's a big story recently. I shouldn't say a big story, but it was a news item where Donald Trump forgot the name of his doctor and kept saying a different name that wasn't his name. He kept saying, I think it was Ronnie Johnson, when his doctor's name was Ronnie Jackson. Like, that happens all the time with Trump. The difference is there are so many more important issues that there is less of a focus on the issues that Trump has with his age, because those just aren't as important as the fact that, I don't know, he denied an election that he lost. So, like, there's just going to be a different focus when there are greater problems at hand with Trump compared to Joe Biden. But the other part of this that I just find to be, I guess, a new element is them bringing up Kamala Harris, seemingly out of nowhere. I don't know if this is really strategically the smart thing to do, simply because Kamala Harris's numbers aren't that much, I should say, aren't worse than Joe Biden's. So Biden, here's his disapproval, 55.9. Kamala Harris is 49.4. Lower disapproval and slightly higher approval at 39.4 compared to Biden at 38.1. And let's compare Kamala Harris to Donald Trump, his favorable, unfavorable. So he has higher unfavorables at 53.3 than Kamala has at disapproval. Look, this ad, I think, would have been more effective without the Kamala Harris aspect of it, because I just think it muddies the water here. You want to have a quick, effective message at how the person you're going up against is really old, and don't pay attention to my age and my problems because of age. No, ignore all that. Look at Joe Biden's. The next ad is a little different.
No matter what Joe Biden promised in the debate, ask yourself, are you financially better off since he became president? Are you and your family safer since he became president? Is our country more secure since he became president? After 4 years of failure under Joe Biden, it's time to make America prosperous and strong again. Donald Trump for president again.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Okay, before I get to the substance of this ad, this part to me doesn't come off strongly.
And strong again. Donald Trump for president again.
It's like saying, president again. Like, that's how it comes off to me. Like, Donald Trump for president again. It's not, I don't think it's a winning message. Now, the 3 issues that they hit on here. So inflation or cost of living, crime rate, and fear mongering the border. So when it comes to inflation or cost of living, this is not going to be solved in 4 years, or at least it's not going to be solved with neoliberal policies in 4 years. So yeah, cost of living is still an issue. Inflation is still an issue, even though it's gone down. The fact that things are just more expensive, living is expensive, cost of housing is ridiculous. All of this is accurate. It's not necessarily because of Biden, but he also didn't do enough, you could argue, or I should say the party didn't do enough to address it. But of course, we can discuss how American politics works. There's the barrier of Congress and the other party that has to approve if you don't have the numbers. So, there's greater issues there. But this is an effective message generally because people are always struggling. When we get to the crime rate. So crime rate is down significantly. I mean, since 93, this is from Pew Research. Of course, it's down significantly. It hasn't been anywhere near an issue that it was in the 90s. But particularly this year, so FBI's latest data shows historic drop in crime. So there's a historic drop in violent crime. Now, this is a motivating message. If I go back to the Pew Research, I don't have the full link here, but there are other graphs within their research here that I'll link below the video, where they discuss people's perception of crime and their perception that it's an issue. And interestingly enough, they have a perception that it's a greater issue nationally than locally, because again, people locally aren't really feeling it, but they see on the news, oh, it's a big issue, so it must be a problem, but it's not in my area. But it's down across the board. So just look, this is going to be, as long as there is a focus on crime generally, there's always going to be a greater fear of it than the reality of what it actually is. And meaning that's always going to be, it can always be used in elections, regardless of if it's a local election, a state election, a general election. It's always going to be used for those purposes. But when it comes to the border, even Fox News, this is here. Let's just watch this.
So Bill, the one thing that I think is interesting is that there was a debate yesterday on are the president's executive orders working at the border? What have you seen?
The numbers have dropped significantly since that executive order went into effect in early June. But the big question, which I assume the Trump campaign is going to hit them with, is why did you wait over 3 years to do this executive order? You could have done it when the crisis first started in 20.
So in typical conservative media fashion, it doesn't matter how far right Biden has gone. And let's be clear, Biden has gone extremely far right when it comes to the border. It doesn't matter how far right into Republican territory Joe Biden goes. They're never going to be satisfied. Oh, even if it's the right policy, why didn't you do it earlier? Huh? So it's just, there's never going to be satisfaction here from the right, which also goes to why Biden should stop, and Democrats generally should stop trying to appeal to right-wingers. People that are going to vote for Trump anyways, that are going to vote for Republicans anyways, stop trying to appeal to them and try to appeal to people that don't normally vote, people that feel disenfranchised. That is where you win, not focusing on conservatives who are not going to vote for you. But again, there's no argument here about the border.
Prosperous
when even Fox News has to admit that Biden's right-wing policies have stopped people from coming over the border. All right, let's get to the this is the last ad. This one is a minute and a half, so a little longer. I don't think this will be played during the debate, but I guess it could be. But this one is maybe the most disingenuous out of all of them.
When I argued that we should freeze federal spending, I meant Social Security as well. And I not only tried it once, I tried it twice, I tried it a third time, and I tried it a fourth time.
Raising the cap, raising the retirement age for people who are now 30 years old, raising the tax on Social Security, cutting benefits. They're all things that have to be discussed, quite frankly.
The American people know we have to fix Social Security. They know we can't grow our way to a solution. They know we're going to have to make some tough decisions.
Would you consider looking at those programs, age of eligibility,
Absolutely.
cost of living, put it all on the table?
The answer is absolutely, you have to. We are going to change the retirement age for Social Security.
We will always protect Social Security and Medicare for our great seniors. Biden can't do that. As president, I kept that promise, and I will keep it once again. I will not, under any circumstances, allow either of these two precious gems to be even touched under a Trump administration. You will always have your Social Security in full as you have it now, and you will always have your Medicare. Social Security will be strong and powerful. Medicare will be strong. You deserve it. I will always protect Medicare and Social Security for our great seniors.
Look at that. Donald Trump, the socialist. Let's just pause for a second at how incredible it is that the two most popular programs in America are socialist programs. Universal health care for seniors, but still universal health care, and Social Security that everybody pays into. Medicare for all should be a topic. It's not going to be a topic at the debate because neither of these candidates support it. But when you look at the most popular policies, they are far left policies. I don't know. Maybe it's time to explore some different avenues. So this one is the most disingenuous because look at the clips they have to pull. This is Biden in like the 90s. Maybe some of them are from when he was vice president. But these are all old clips because you cannot find a clip of President Biden as president discussing cutting Social Security because he has not done that, does not want to do that. These were fair criticisms back in 2020 during the primary, the Democratic primary, when he was running against Bernie Sanders, because Bernie Sanders has always had a very strong record on these issues, whereas Biden clearly has not. But now that he's been president and there has not been cuts, and it's very clear he knows how unpopular that is, and he has no interest in cuts, to claim that Biden is this man is just completely dishonest, especially when this is Donald Trump. This is from March of this year.
Discretionary is not going to help. Have you changed your outlook on how to handle entitlements, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, Mr. President? It seems like something has to be done, or else we're going to be stuck at 120% of debt to GDP forever.
So first of all, there is a lot you can do in terms of entitlements, in terms of cutting, and in terms of also the theft and the bad management of entitlements, tremendous bad management of entitlements. There's tremendous amounts of things and numbers of things you can do. So I don't, necessarily.
There it is. There's things you can do in terms of entitlements, in terms of cuts. Not to mention, it's not just him, by the way, because when it comes to actual policy, I think Trump is the least important part of any of this because he's not doing the work. It's Republicans that are doing the work. And this is what they recently did. Again, from March, the House GOP just gave Biden's campaign a huge gift. Roughly 80% of House Republicans just lined up behind a plan to cut Social Security and ban all abortions. So by the way, again, I'll link to this below the video under sources. There's a deeper read on this, but the Republican Study Committee, RSC, a caucus that represents 80% of House Republicans, including the party's entire leadership, unveiled a budget that calls for cutting Social Security benefits and establishing that human life begins at conception. This is the party's intention. And by the way, it has always been the party's intention. The Republicans have always done this. This is why, by the way, Biden back in the 90s, this is why he was making these arguments. Because he was trying to appeal to Republican voters. Because Republicans have always held this position of cuts. So this, again, I think this is the most dishonest ad out of all of them. But will it be effective? It could be. Just as any of these ads, I think, could be effective. In a vacuum, without any other information coming in and telling you the realities of each of these situations, I think all of these ads could be very effective. And the fact that they have a massive ad buy for this debate and will be playing some of these ads during the debate, it may make them even more effective as you have the audience that cares about this stuff actually watching.